Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on webinar named Entering the German Market. Our speaker today is Robert Šuppenhauer, Master of Science in Business Engineering from RS Engineering and Management GmbH, the company that focuses on consultancy for engineering and management. Before we dive in, I want to remind everyone that we'll have a Q&A session toward the end of the presentation, so feel free to ask your questions and we'll do our best to address them. Robert, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation and the chance to talk today. So I would like to ask you to share the presentation. Okay. So I will give you some insights and, let's say, impulses to the topics entering the German market. The idea is that you can use those ideas and insights to follow up your planning and decide if it makes sense to enter the German market for your products or services. So what is one of the most important questions you have to ask, and what you have to know? You have to know your customer. In Germany, for example, it is very important to be punctual, to be on time. So that's why I put this picture, like a little joke at the beginning. You are 2 minutes and 8 seconds late. I hate meetings with Germans, that's what the guy is thinking. But it is very important in German culture for many people to be on time, to take the time of the other person very serious and respected. So a little bit about me and my company. We are a very small consultancy company with 4 employees based in Karlsruhe, which is 1 hour south of Frankfurt. RS in the name of the company is short for my personal name, Robert Šuppenhauer. My background is Master of Science in Business Engineering, and we do consultancy for engineering and management topics. And the most important customers are from the construction, infrastructure, and manufacturing area. What you should do at the very beginning when you study a market and decide about entering the market or not. You have to define your market, and for example, for the German market, you have to distinguish a little bit between Germany as a market or the German-speaking market. So the German market is 85 million inhabitants who live there, and 95 million would be in the German-speaking market. As you can see on the right side, it's a lot bigger than just Germany. And the core of the German market, most people refer to the DACH region, which would be D for Germany, A for Austria, and CH for Switzerland. The region is part of the European Union and part of the EU single market. What is also important to know is that in Germany, there are 16 different states. The biggest ones are on the left side on the bottom, Baden-Württemberg, Bavaria, both in south of Germany, and North Rhine-Westphalia in the east of Germany, in the west of Germany, sorry. And all of those have their own parliament or legislation, and depending on your product and services, you should consider this in your market definition. Some key facts about Germany. The last years, the growth of the GDP was not very much. It was like stagnating, but the forecast about the next year is that it's accelerating again, but in low digits at the moment, with 0.7 for this year and 1.3 for the next year. On the other side, the inflation is quite low, with around 2%, and also the unemployment rate is very low in Germany, with about 3%. What is very important for the market analyst and the target audience? You really need to understand the market. So you have to check if there are some differences in the localities and the locations where you want to go to. Germany for the IT sector is very competitive. There are not too many very big companies, but there are many small and medium-sized companies, and all of them cover regional differences. So it's very important to know this and to study your own market There are many different organizations and companies that you can contact or visit websites. There's, for example, the AHK, which is the Außenhandelskammer, so the Foreign Chamber of Commerce. There's a good point of contact. Or, for example, similar to IT Ukraine associations, there's Bitkom in Germany, or Cyber Forum, which is local here in Karlsruhe, or BitMe for medium-sized companies in IT. And there are websites like Statista or Die Statis, where you can find a lot of statistical data about Germany and the German market. This will help you to define the market and the target audience better. Another important number about the German market that you have to know is the purchasing power. There's huge differences in the purchasing power in the German-speaking market. For example, in Switzerland, the personal income or the purchasing power is almost double than the one in Germany. But even in Germany, there's big differences between cities like Munich, Hamburg, or Frankfurt, where the people have a lot more income available than in the rural areas or in Eastern Germany. All this information you can use to define, like here on the right side, the TAM, your total addressable market, and derive from there the available market and the realistically obtainable market for your products or services. Another interesting fact about Germany is that the population is getting older and older. So more than 50% of the population is 40 or older, 40 years or older. So you have to define your products and see also, let's say, the vision, for example, for healthcare sector or for products for elderly people. There's a growing demand. So you have to check if it's for your product as well. And you can adjust your product for the specific market. For example, if it's elderly people, that it's easier to read, bigger letters, stuff like that. Take it into account. Also interesting is to know, and good to know, is that the German market is a very segmented market. There are a lot of differences between Germany, Austria, Switzerland, but even in between Germany, there are differences. There are differences in the culture and the consumer behavior and in the economic conditions as outlined before in the few slides that I showed previously. So what can you do? You can make a profile of buyer persona, check for the specific needs and goals that these buyer persona characterize, and this would be for business to customer. But on the other side, you can also make ideal customer profiles, which would be like for a company, business to business, and check what would be the ideal customer for yourself. With the information that I gave before and the contacts, you can make an in-depth research, understand the market, understand the preferences of your target audience, and do a better research in depth to define where you want to go and what you derive from the market analysis and your target audience research. What else is very important? Be aware that there might be competition. Analyze your competition in the market. What can you do for yourself? You can check and create a business model canvas. Use this as a template to define your own business model better for this market, and also use the value proposition template that you can say, okay, what is the product, the best value for the client that you can offer with your product? How do you have to define it, adjust it, that you are able to offer the best value on the market and have the best chance to grow your product or services. So at the end, you will know your weaknesses and strengths, and you can adjust accordingly. What else is very interesting? There are different consumer preferences in the German market. In the last years, there was a growing demand for sustainable products, like defined in the global goals for sustainability, sustainable development, and these in many sectors, from technology and automotive or consumer goods. And the Germans, not all, but many people choose quality over price. So, for example, for the service industry, what you could do is get a certificate in quality management system, ISO 9001, and implement it in your company to assure the quality of service and product. And with the information of the customer profiles, you're able to address these issues as well. And at the end, with all this information, you can do a tailored and a better and more effective marketing for your products and services. What are some market entry pitfalls? There are some mistakes that you can and do, but you should avoid. One of the bigger mistakes that, for example, Google has not been aware of or ignored. Google had been fined about 50 million euro for GDPR violations. They didn't take care well of the local laws and regulations that have been in place. So it is very important to be aware of. On the bottom, I link the legislation, and what you have to be aware of, for example, is that for software products, you should store the data locally in Germany, ensure that the data of personal people, the personal data is stored safely, that the people know that their data is, which data is stored, how long it's stored, when they don't want it stored anymore, that it's getting deleted. So there are many different points that you have to be aware of, especially in the IT sector. Another market entry pitfall is that you don't adapt to the local culture and language. So it's very important. In one example, for example, Slack managed to adjust their services, build up a local support team in German languages. Their interface for the software is in German, and this helped them a lot to grow very fast and get customer acceptance, and could adopt to the local market and grow. Another company, like the retailer from US called Walmart, they had very big problems and they had to leave the German market because they ignored that there are cultural differences in Germany compared to the US. So they thought that with the US model and structure in the markets and the service in the market, they would be able to gain market share. But after a few years, they had to leave the German market again. So be aware of these cultural differences, learn the market, understand it, and that will help you do good marketing and sell your products. Another market entry pitfall is not to use strategic partnerships that already have like bonds to the same customer base, like one-on-one contacts where they were able to build a trust. It can take a long time to build the trust with clients, especially in the business-to-business sector. So this is also one important point where you could fail with the market entry, and you should be aware of it. So, said about the pitfalls, let's get into some more details about the sales strategy and the partnerships. There are different sales channels that you can use. You could do direct sales, especially in the business-to-business area. This is very common, like in manufacturing, engineering, or IT software, that you do direct sales. You can do it by building up your own team in Germany or with partners. Then you have to decide about the channel partners. You can do different ways to sell your products or services. Like on the bottom in the picture, you can see you can use resellers, for example. You can use strategy of import and export. You can use affiliate marketers, or you can do white labeling, that other companies can sell your product under their own name. What is also very common in Germany, especially in the business-to-customer sector, is e-commerce. It is widely accepted to use e-commerce platforms and sell products online. And this can be also a good strategy for sales. Considering partnerships, you can have a local sales team that you can use, and this will help you, especially as they already know and understand the language and culture. You can partner with local companies when you don't want to build up your own team. This can be better for leveraging and be more cost effective. But you can also go yourself and do business-to-business networking events, assist them in conferences. For example, you can go to exhibition Hannover Messe, which is for industrial manufacturing. Bauma is for construction and machinery. But there are many different events that you can go to where you will find either clients for possible lead generation, or you could make valuable partnerships. On the right side, you can see different types of partnership models, and you have to check which of those channels could be, or partnership models could be the best for your service and for your product. At the end, what really matters is that you make a product to market fit. So you customize the product that it fits perfectly to the market and to the target audience. So to your customer that you want to sell the product to. In the best case, you also manage to serve some underserved needs, and you have a good value proposition with your product. You offer the features that is required in this market, and you have an adjustment of the user interface, which in best case would be in German language, and offers, especially for the local people, a good user experience. Some bonus insights at the end of the presentation. The customer support and service is very important in German culture and for German people. If it's in German language, makes it a lot easier. And if it's very professional, is also very helpful, as German people, Austrian and Switzerland people as well, they value quality purchases with quality service, and they would expect it. All helps, of course, to strengthen your bond to the clients and customers. What you can also think about is a local pricing strategy. As you saw in the beginning, there is huge differences in purchasing power between the private people in the countries and also cities. But the same corresponds also to the companies, that in richer cities also there are richer people, yes, because they work there, and also the companies, they will have more purchasing power. And also very important is that most Germans prefer to have transparent pricing. That means they would like to know, okay, how much will they pay from the beginning to the end? How much do they pay every year? Or how much would they pay for the total price? So it's not very good for the bond with the clients, or for the trust, that you hide some of the costs and they come up later. What can also be a pitfall is to give too big discounts, because if you want to offer quality products, discounts can be seen as counterproductive, but it can also be very effective depending on what is your strategy. For example, to be the price leader or the quality leader, it depends. Last insight, be aware of local standards and interoperability. In German, market, especially in e-commerce, it's very common, like a de facto standard, that you offer bank transfers, that you offer SEPA payments, you have a PayPal integration, and also Apple Pay or Google Pay is used in almost all platforms in Germany and offered as a payment solution. Also, other technical standards, for example, if you have to work with data related to enterprise resource planning, there's a standard software from a German company, SAP, which has interfaces, APIs that you should be aware of. And if you have a software that is related or could be related to this program, you should offer this as an interface of your product as well. That's how I get to the end of the presentation. Here are some of my details of the company, the website, rs-em.com. We are based in Karlsruhe. If you want, you can get this data later on. And to conclude at the very end, I would like to ask you to give me feedback, which of course is voluntarily. It will take you only 1 minute, and it is only 2 questions, and you just scan this QR code and can fill it out, and I can get in touch with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert, for the insightful presentation. And it's clear that entering the German market is both promising and challenging. And now it's time for the Q&A session. And we've already received a number of great questions. And I encourage everyone to keep on asking. So let's start with the first one. What barriers exist for launching a digital service in Germany?
First, you have to know your client and your target audience. Is it a business-to-business client or software or product, or is it a business-to-customer? You will have to select different marketing channels or sales channels. And of course, digital product, be aware of the different laws, like outlined in the presentation. This can be very tricky. Be aware of it before you enter the market. Adjust your product accordingly to the German language, and then you will be fine.
Great, thank you. The next one, mentality. What do you need to know and how to build communication? And also, what strategies should you choose for a small service IT company? Is it better through partners or direct sales?
For a very small company, I think it's best to look for partners, because there's a lot of effort in the business-to-business world that you manage to get the clients. You have to build a trust, and at the end, trust is people business. You have to know the people, you have to be able to trust them, and then you manage to sell your products to them. So I recommend to look for partners that are in the similar industry that you can work with together, and this could be one of the most successful approaches.
Okay, thank you. We've just received a question. Are there any platforms or sources like Xing where German clients could look for IT vendors?
There's Xing, which was popular in the past, but the importance of Xing is getting less and less, I think. I think it's more important to use LinkedIn as a platform for business to make contacts. You could look for, let's say, people that work at companies which have a similar profile than yours, because then they have already the contact to the clients, to the customers, which might be able to use your products as well and buy them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So the next one, what company development strategies can be used in the German market?
There are different strategies that you can use. I outlined them in the presentation. So you can choose the different sales channels and the strategies and look for the best one. But at the end, it depends on your target audience that you have, that you define it well, and that you adjust your product to the market.
Thank you. Are there any IT communities you offer joining?
I cannot offer you to join any community, but I myself am member in Cyber Forum and in BitMe, which are here local organizations. BitMe is like similar to IT association, but for smaller and some medium-sized companies. And Cyber Forum is already quite big, but also local here in Karlsruhe. And they have many companies in IT, cybersecurity, and so on. But I think you can also join these clubs if you want and be a member. But the question is always what can be the benefit for you being member remotely.
Thank you. The next one, the cost of registering a startup company, like legal requirements and so on, and necessary conditions for joining local associations and accelerators.
The cost for registration depends on the type of company you want to do. For example, if you want to do a UG, which is similar to a UK limited company, you will need only, let's say, about 500 euro to set it up, but you will have monthly costs, and the same costs will be also for GmbH, which, for example, my company has. The initial investment is about 25,000 euros, and the monthly costs will be like 1,500 minimum for the accounting, bookkeeping, and so on, and the reports that you have to hand in. But for example, if you look for partners, the cost will be a lot lower. Or there are other possibilities. You can also operate from Ukraine, but just be aware of the taxations, import-export. Look for a tax advisor that can help you identify this well. I know there is a double taxation agreement between Germany and Ukraine. And there are also some new rules and regulations for the last few years that they implemented to help Ukraine companies do business in Europe.
Okay, thank you. What kind of event to extend the network would you recommend?
It's always good to go to exhibitions. I feel that if you go to smaller events, which are very specific, for the topics like conventions, it will help you a lot better to get deep dive connections with people. This is what I would recommend to do.
Good, thank you. The next question is, what are the top resources for research in Germany?
Okay. So in my presentation, I showed some organizations that can help you, can be of first contact and can give you information. But for example, for statistical data, I mentioned the Statis and Statista. You can find a lot of data there that can help you to do the market analysis.
Okay, thank you. How to become trusted for a Germany market from the cybersecurity service and consulting company from Ukraine? Or is it better to use the approach of partnership with the local MSPs?
I think it can be a lot easier to use local companies that already have their network and they already build a trust relationship with their clients. But of course you can do it and you have a bigger leverage if you go to the market yourself, enter in the market. But you have to be aware of the different topics that are highlighted in the presentation, and then you can also be successful.
Good, thank you. So we are out of questions, and if you have any more questions, please write them right now, and we'll gladly answer them. But if you don't have any more questions right now, feel free to reach out to Robert or our team after the webinar. And thank you so much for your thoughtful answers, Robert, and thank you everyone who contributed the questions. I hope today's session has provided a lot of valuable information for anyone looking for entering the German market. And before we conclude, I want to remind everyone that the recording of this webinar will be available, and you will have a chance to revisit the presentation and answers at any time. And once again, we just received a question. What sales channels should use outsourcing IT company from Ukraine to step into German market, LinkedIn, emails, or so on?
For outsourcing, it's also people business. You have to know the guys to be able to trust. So I think it's better to look for German partners that also are in the outsourcing business, or bigger IT companies, or small, medium size can also be, that are in the same market with specific topics. You can try with LinkedIn, but I'm not sure if anyone will respond positively. So I think look for partners is a lot easier to start entering the market. And when you grow bigger, you can still do your own company.
Okay, thank you. The question about the sharing this presentation after the webinar, yes, we will, but for those who has already registered for the webinar. So once again, thank you, Robert, for your time and valuable insights. And thank you, everyone who attended the webinar. And we hope to see you at our next webinars as well. And have a great day.
Thank you.